Halo is set
Halo.
to follow an epic 26th century conflict between humanity and an alien threat known as the Covenant. Halo will weave deeply drawn personal stories with action, adventure, and richly imagined vision of the future. As always, guys, we always want to start off with our one sentence review of this. So, Jason, what is your one sentence review of the Halo series?
Man, they don't give a shit.
Okay. I think we're on the same thread because my one sentence review is they judge dreaded it, Master Chief. Jason, what are your thoughts on the Halo series as a whole?
All right,
So,
I'm a man.
episode one. Sorry, it's
Episode
episode
one,
one,
only
guys.
one episode out. Maybe it'll get better. I don't know. I'm a man of a certain age, where Halo is fundamental in my upbringing. There's been many a days when I was a youth in which we would spend many hours playing Halo with me and my gang of lovable rapscallions, uh, dropping racial slurs at each other and other slurs while we merrily kill each other. And those are some of my fondest memories. Probably had a couple of fist fights after that as well. But I'm not a big Halo lore guy. Like after the first two games, it kind of like petered off for me as anything that was actually anything I was paying attention to. But I know enough about the series to know a little bit of something about this thing going into it. And at first, I was all on board. I was like, okay, the Covenant elite soldiers look pretty cool. They look pretty realistic for being CG characters. The Spartans look very intimidating and very like cool looking when they're fighting the elites. Even the planet that they're on, even though it's kind of like very generic, uh, fart world, I guess. Like everybody that lives on a fucking alien planet in sci-fi has to live in these like shitty ass places. Like y'all in the future, y'all
Mm-hmm.
can build a house. It's like not that hard. Like, but it's still like I was on board. I liked the young Asian girl. I can't remember the character's name. I like her as being our eyes into the world for our people who are for the viewers stand in so that we can learn the world. Like I liked pretty much everything about this up until the last 10 minutes. Um, and in the last 10 minutes, they did something so egregiously awful that that's how my one sentence review came out. And I was like, oh, they don't give a shit about this property whatsoever. and and
And if
like
people
there
are
is some
wondering what they did, just go refer back to my one sentence review.
and figure it the fuck out. And like a lot of the stuff is like from what I know of the Halo universe is like it's not all gumdrops and lollipops. The Spartan program was created by a lady who did I don't know if this is a spoiler, but because this has been around for 20 fucking years,
Hmm.
who like kidnapped children and made them and tortured them basically until they were super soldiers. And that's who Master Chief is. He's an orphan. He's not even an orphan. He has a family out there who thinks he's dead. And and that's but I don't know. It didn't seem like even though they were like, grimy like that, it didn't seem like they would just be like, especially some of the characters that are in the game that you come to like who are heroic and you admire. I don't think they would be okay with just like, oh yeah, that chick, we don't like her anymore, so we're going to kill her. And they're just like, oh, yep, that's the order. Cool. We're just for no reason, like even though we're going to cover it up too. And they're like, aren't y'all supposed to be the good guys? Like, I get it's it's supposed to be shades of gray, but like nah, y'all literally know that they're going to have this character murdered, and then they're going to cover it up. Like y'all even know what the cover up is. Like y'all know
Hmm.
that's wrong because if it was right, y'all wouldn't have covered it up. If y'all if y'all believed in what y'all were doing, y'all wouldn't have to cover it up. You're like, oh, she's an enemy of the state. She had to die. That's what it. No, we're gonna cover this up. So like at that like point, it's like, should I be rooting for these characters? And it's like I don't feel like it. And then even though it's like okay, it's still kind of cool. It's still kind of like vibing with the overall presentation. They did the one thing that you should not do in games like this or in media like this. Uh, and we'll probably get into that a little bit later in the spoilers because there's a little bit more I have to say about it. But yeah, like that totally just took like all the wind out of my sails. It deflated me because it's like it's so like egregiously like it could have happened. It's not the fact this thing happen, but it could have happened in a stronger narrative way that would have made it more impactful, especially if it's later in the season or even
Mhm.
in the next season. Uh, but it's like, oh yeah, it's like the very first thing in this very first episode, and it's like, yeah, it's like Hollywood doesn't give a shit about video game properties. They just don't. Like they don't care whatsoever about like giving us these type of feelings that we got from the video games. They just like they don't understand. I don't know if they just don't understand or if it's like a purposeful thing because video games make so much more money than movies do nowadays that they just don't want to
Mhm.
like give something that's so good that people are like, oh, let's go play the video game. Or I don't even know because like if you're gonna just treat this poorly, then I might as well just go play the video game and watch the show. So
Right.
it made me angry. Like I literally wanted to like punch my TV when they did this. And yeah, that is my review.
Okay.
It was good up until one point, and then it tightens me. It tightened me. Right, the first episode.
All right. Well, good. I'm glad we feel similarly but completely different. I didn't play the video games. By the time Halo and them was really rocking in video games, I stopped being really a gamer. I think maybe I was only still playing Madden. But let's move on to the review. I definitely enjoyed how this episode one opened up. How they opened up, and like you said, everything is on a place with nothing but sand and whatever. But it did have like a lush forest, like right up a hill from it,
Like
which
right
is
next door.
like, what you want to build your city? Okay, all right, whatever. We're gonna
Well,
rock
whatever.
with it. We're gonna rock with it. So they open up with it. It's great open. The problem I have with this show is that I don't know how many episodes this season has. I don't know if they're gonna change like how much time each episode is. I don't know anything, guys. I'm just reviewing just purely off the episode. There are moments in this show that should have felt impactful, and they just breeze by them, and they
Hmm.
just swoop. So the beginning, it's a huge battle, and I love it, and it's a great battle, and it's basically showing that these Covenant Jokers is for real, and they about this life, and you're like, man, like okay. Then we get the Spartans drop in, and the Spartans are handling them pretty reasonably without any issue, but before they drop in, it's a scene with the Covenant where they slaughter a whole group of people that, like, in any other situation would have been extremely like major heel turn. These guys are despicable. They're the scum of the earth because you know the old saying, women and children. You
Yep.
don't mess with women and children. You let it ride. Well, they don't let that ride. But instead of letting that moment sit in and be a thing, we zoom right on by it. The Asian character he's talking about that's supposed to be influential and everything like that. What happens to her is a tragedy. We don't care about that because we're zooming right on by that. And then by the time we get to, like you said, the good guys not feeling like good guys, and I'm thinking, well, why did you make the bad guys so much despicable? Are you trying to be like, well, they're really, really bad guys, and these guys are like, okay, little bit of bad guys? It's
We're
like
all,
it's like how
we're
it's
only
like how Virginia,
somewhat bad.
right? It's like how Virginia technically is in the South, but it's like, nah, not the dirty South. So
uh,
like it's that kind
I
of
mean, you're
vibe.
from Maryland, so I'm gonna tell you, I'm from Virginia. That shit is South.
Oh, again, I know, but if you ask any Southerner, they'd be like, "Oh, I'm from Virginia." They'd be like, "Oh, they damn near want to call you a Northerner at that point."
Oh, they
I
would
tell you
call
I'm
you a
from
Yankee.
DC. Yeah, I'm coming from DC. Oh, you're a Yankee, like it's underneath the Mason Dixon. Anyway, that's the point I'm getting to is that
Maryland's in the South.
again, I know it's underneath the Mason Dixon line, but again, that's what I'm getting to is that like, so why put that scene in and make them so despicable when the heroic organization is pretty much on the same level with them?
Hmm.
Like they basically gonna, like you said, gonna do something to cover it up. I'm perfectly not as upset about the part that Jason is about
Uh,
what happens in there because I didn't play the game, so I don't really get that fully enthralled. But I can empathize with it because I always used to read Judge Dredd comics, and one big key of Judge Dredd is he keeps his helmet on, and you never see his face, and you rock out with that.
we're gonna go
So
ahead.
when you
I'm
go,
just gonna go ahead and throw this out there.
so when you get to Sylvester Stallone's Judge Dredd, and that Joker walking around full face, it was like, huh. What?
Blast.
How dare you? So, I could we go either way on that one. But I did enjoy this because for episode one, or like a pilot episode, is what people will call it did all the things I think a good pilot episode should do. You had action, it wasn't too wordy. You give them a little taste of what the worst world is supposed to be like and feel like, and then you set up the conflict that's supposed to go through the rest of the season. I feel like they personally accomplished those goals very well. The only thing I will probably cut out a little bit is that I think they would give me too many story threads, and some of them which I did not care about. With, again, the organizational thing, I feel like you could have let them just be this knight in shining armor for right now and let a conflict go on with like the other portions that are going on. Like I feel like convoluting it with the whole political stuff going on is something I'm like, that's something that you should do once we all know the character names. So we know who they're talking about when they're talking about different people's attitudes or like different people's mythos. So we can be like, oh, yeah, I know that person. So that's my only real drawback is that a couple of times I'll be like, well, who are they talking about? And then like maybe the next two scenes that it'll be like such and such name, like, oh, that's the person. But it took me out of the show because I was trying to figure out who the fuck they were talking about half the time. So that would be my only real negative on it. I know you had more
Also,
to say, Jason.
they revealed some character backgrounds that probably could have waited for a couple more episodes. Not just the thing that I was talking about, but also with between like familiar pieces of the family of equation that would not been readily apparent uh,
Mm.
until they're just like, oh yeah, that's my mom's.
Right.
It's like, oh, that could have been a nice little foil. Like now I understand why. Like if you did this a little later in the episodes, you're like, oh, I understand why you're always having a problem with this person, because this person is constantly like, treating you, poorly or getting in your way because that is your family member. But oh no, we're just gonna let that first episode. Here you go. Yeah, we don't know if this is gonna do anything for you, but this is why everything bad's happening for you is because that's your mom.
And spoilers in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, Jason, what was the spoilers that you wanted to give
The
up?
motherfucker took off his helmet. Like, all right, here's the thing. All right, here's the thing. We have had the Mandalorian. Nerd focus. We've had the Mandalorian where a huge Hollywood star has gone on for like several different episodes of the whole entire first season where he did not take off his helmet whatsoever, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Pedro Pascal is, he's at least at B plus here, right?
Right.
And then in this one, you have Liev Schreiber's little brother. I don't even know if he's actually related to Liev Schreiber or not. Pablo Schreiber, who can't even go this one episode without taking off his fucking helmet and looking, and like it ruins the power fantasy that is Halo, right? That's what Halo's about. You are a faceless, mindless service. You can insert yourself into this power fantasy and be the super soldier because you don't know who the fuck is under that mask. You have this really cool voice, and that's it. And you can be the super soldier. That's what video games is about, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it could be cool and impactful if this dude, this guy, the stoic soldier, never took off his helmet because, like in Mandalorian, because that's the way he is. He even says it, like, I need this helmet. He has a belief in his armor and so much, and he's supposed to be a non-human imposing figure.
Mm-hmm.
He's not supposed to be humanicized so quickly, right? Like that could be a story arc, but nope. He's like, this is me.
Do you think? And this is when I was watching it,
and then he keeps his helmet off the whole entire rest of the episode.
Right? Do you think they were? Do you think they were inspired heavily by the Mandalorian in making this?
No, because this has been maybe I don't know. This has been in production for a long time. Like this has been in development hell for a decade at least, if not longer. So I don't know. But if they were inspired by it, they should have took better notes.
I hope, and this is something if this show is successful, because we're all going to root for it. If it's successful and it's good, let me say that, because it can be successful and be terrible, like Titans, and we're going to stop watching it. But I hope it is successful. I would not mind if they Battlestar Galactica and did a whole spinoff series, like a short with for Reach. Like
Oh
Halo
yeah,
Reach. Jerem was when I talk about Halo Reach. But remember when Battlestar had done their spinoff of the ship that like didn't make it, but they
Capricorn.
were like, yeah, yep. And it was just a dope little mini series because you
Yeah.
knew how it was going to end, but you got to see all of it, how it got to that point. I would love to see Reach get a
Well,
small
at this
little
point,
like series.
like it also kind of spoils the story because Master Chief at the end of Reach is the only Spartan for the most part until later games. It's the only Spartan that survives Reach, right? And he's
Mm,
already like he's humanity's last hope, right? Like everybody respects him on the very first part of the game. Everybody respects him. Everybody likes him. He's like, yeah, this is our dude, Master Chief. Hopefully, he can turn this around for us. And in this one, he's like, everybody's like, nah, let's kill this dude. Like, and I feel like that's gonna be like a hard turnaround when they're just like, oh yeah, he didn't kill that girl. Like he's already disobeyed the orders of the UNC by not eliminating. Yeah, that's a bad order. You don't just fucking. I mean, you can't just kill civilians just because
right,
they don't fuck with you. But like he's already disobeyed the order. They were like, yo, the general lady is like, yo, yeah, shoot that motherfucker.
right,
and
right,
and like they're already prepared to like kill this guy. And he's already on the run. And I'm like, how are we gonna turn this around to the point where he is the guy that everybody likes on the Pillar of Autumn who goes and saves humanity from the Covenant? Or if they, I mean, maybe they're not gonna do that, but
mm,
it just doesn't seem like it doesn't really match with the lore as of right now because I don't know. Maybe this is word for word what happens before Reach falls, and I just don't know because I didn't read the stupid books. But other than that, it's just like I don't see how he's gonna be their boy when they're like, yeah, and he's gonna be like, yeah, I'm all about this life. He's all about like saving humans and working for the UNC and shit up until when his robot girlfriend goes rogue, and so I don't see how he's like gonna be like, yeah, I'm totally gonna do this for you guys, especially after y'all tried to kill me. This is gonna be fun.
right. All right, what do you give? What do you give the rating for Halo?
Can we do negatives? It's not that bad. Besides giving me the most egregious thing ever, I'm still gonna give it like a 2. There is lots of
Okay.
stuff here that I could enjoy, especially there's not really a lot of sci-fi on TV right now, like especially with
Mhm.
aliens and shit in it. So I'm probably gonna still watch this, even though they already kicked me in the nuts. So I'm gonna give it a 2.
Hey, I'm gonna give it a 3, man. Like I said, if I was defining what I would want out of a pilot, this is pretty much gave me almost exactly what I wanted. Little things could have been tightened up, but I'm here. I'm
Yeah,
here for episode 2 because of what I saw from episode 1. So,
I just hope he puts his helmet back on.
good, good luck with that one.
And keeps it on for the rest. Like, okay, took it off, put it back on, keeps it on for the rest of the series. Like we know who's under there. It's that dumb looking fucker, Pablo Schreiber.
Anyway, good luck with that. All right. So, but guys, like we said before, always remember one. I did it this time, Jason. I made
Oh,
sure I
you got
got
a
it. One.
can.
Yeah. Make sure you get that nerd focus in you. Again, a link will be in the description. Go and get you a case. I'm up here. I got the sugar-free, zero-calorie one that I'm showing everybody. The blue
It's
can.
delicious.
All right. And then as always, make sure you check that out. And then let's say you broke. Let's say like you balling on a budget like me and Jason. You out here doing your thing, working every day, but you're like, man, in word for nerd, head cannon circus. I would love to support you guys at Nerd Focus because I enjoy energy drinks too. But I'd rather just get mine at the dollar, a little cheaper at the dollar store or at the gas station. I ain't balling like that. And I'm like,
My
no,
child
hey, no
support payment ain't
worries.
come in yet.
Right. No worries. We ain't mad at you. We get it. We live in the same lifestyle. But know what you can do to help us out then? Just share. Share the
Mhm.
content, man.
Like,
Jason
share,
likes to say it.
subscribe.
Sharing is caring. Yeah, share. Sharing is caring. Like, share, subscribe. If you want to choose just one out of the 3, share it to people. But if you want to follow us and come and kick it with us more often, subscribe as always. But by all
Look,
means, man, like I said, that's the easiest way that you can help us is just getting the show out there for the masses.